This ain't no disco.
Ain't no country club neither.
This is RVA. Wow, we have not been on air in a long time.
I know. I literally had to look up the episode number.
How many weeks has it been? Has it been
Too many.
a
Like
month?
6.
Too many.
And so we mainly took a break because of our trip to Italy. That was first and foremost.
Yeah. And then there was illness. There was flakery, etc. So without much further ado, welcome to
Oh La La
in RVA
Season 3, Episode 8.
It's been so long I had to double check on that one. Sorry. Anyway, we're so happy to be back. We have an amazing guest tonight, Alejandro. We're going to be playing some games.
We're going to be talking about a new exciting band. Big Daddy will be dropping it on us.
And on this episode, we'll be starting the Beachbody series. And with that, we're going to be talking about some very interesting origins of exercise equipment. So keep listening for that.
I can't wait.
I think I started on the right one.
So happy Pride Month, everybody. We just want to say happy Pride Month to all of our listeners who are part of the LGBTQ plus community.
We also have our upcoming events besides, although there might be a little pride sprinkled into that.
Yep.
Our business of the week.
Yep.
And our upcoming show of the week. Yep. So without further ado, unless Big Daddy, you have anything to add?
No, I don't. It's going to be a fun-filled show. That's all I know.
That's right.
All right. Introduce our guest.
Yes. So today we have with us the lovely, the handsome, the talented Alejandro Fumero.
The guy who gets stung by wasps.
Yes. He'll have to tell us about that. Hailing from Havana, Cuba, Alejandro moved to the States from Cuba in 2017, living first in the Outer Banks and then moving to good old RVA in 2020. Alejandro became a citizen, yay, in February of 2024, so just last year. He is currently a project manager at Dominion Energy. When he isn't working, he's usually traveling the world with us, playing pickleball, and watching whatever trash TV his girlfriend Amy and I insist that he watch. So, without further ado, let's give him a warm welcome.
Welcome. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.
Of course.
So, I did visit the U.S. for the first time in 2017, but I moved here in 2018.
Oh, my bad.
So, yeah.
Cool.
That was going to be a question later, damn it.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
Yes,
should
yes.
we go into our icebreaker real quick?
Yes. Before we get too far into this, we thought it would be fun to test a little trivia since Alejandro is now a real American citizen.
I didn't know this was going to be a trap.
Don't worry, he'll probably do better than me.
So they're going to play Big Daddy, Alejandro and Olivia. They're going to try to answer some questions.
Finally,
I have for them,
Liz won't
and we'll
kick
see.
my ass.
I know. Well, I figured I'd bow out so as not to
Okay.
blow the curve.
What a nice
No.
thing to do.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're too generous.
All right. So these are all questions about America.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
You better get them right on this
So you guys can. I'll tell you at home who's
I'm gonna
raising
be
their
sent back.
hands.
Oh, you have to raise your hand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is a civilized game. All right. What year did the U.S. declare independence from Britain?
1776.
That is correct. Let me keep score
I'm
here.
glad I didn't answer.
Me too. I said
I was gonna be 2 years off.
You were going to say 1774?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
That's the name of a beer.
1974. We should be dancing.
Okay, this one's kind of tricky, actually. What do the colors red, white, and blue on the American flag symbolize? Anyone?
Oh boy.
Oh, Olivia.
That was not in the question.
Freedom.
Kind of in a larger, broader sense, but no, red equals something specific. White.
It's the blood
Blue.
that they spilled in the battles for their independence.
Kind of, yes. Valor and bravery is red.
Oh, okay.
White, what would white be? Anyone?
White is usually when you surrender,
The
right?
purity is the purity of the
That is
ideals.
correct,
of the
Alejandro.
ideals.
It literally says white equals purity.
Or surrender.
And blue,
Freedom.
what would blue be? Close,
Independence.
kind of.
Well, blue can mean a lot of things. Also, like there's royal blue. So I'm like, okay, did we want to keep having some sort of...
We've got bravery, purity. What would the last thing be?
independence.
Brotherhood.
No. All right, y'all. I'll give Alejandro
Yeah,
a point.
I've never
I'm gonna
heard
give
of
him
the
a point,
explanation of
It's
the
the
colors
sky,
before.
so it's the blue.
Red is
We're going to
valor and
fly.
bravery. White is purity and innocence, and blue is perseverance and justice.
Oh, justice. Of
Justice
course.
for all.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. All right, so let's see. We've got Big Daddy with one, Alejandro with one, Olivia, no pressure.
I'm the worst American in the world.
How many amendments are there to the U.S. Constitution?
Oh, my.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I don't know. I don't want to
guess.
sound like an idiot. 15.
Higher,
No, I thought it was 22.
23.
higher.
Are you kidding me? 27.
Yes, that's right.
27.
You whispered it, but I'll give it to you.
Does that count as a
Oh my
Thing
whisper?
is, the
A careless whisper?
careless
to-
whisper. Yeah, it's got to count.
Oh wow. Somebody has to get this.
This is. I feel like this was a trap.
What are two rights listed in the Declaration of Independence?
Oh,
Nah.
Well, pursuit.
free speech, right?
No.
The right to bear arms.
No.
Pursuit of happiness,
And
No.
what's another one?
and I don't remember.
Life, liberty, and
Pursuit of
Yeah.
happiness.
Okay.
All right, we'll give Olivia a point, and I'll give Alejandro a point. Alejandro, I told you were going to win. You're winning so far. This one is kind of different and fun. What is the most visited national park in the U.S.?
Oh, Yellowstone?
Nope. Alejandro?
Well, I don't really know. Sorry. Let's give it to
Olivia?
Olivia.
Shenandoah National Park.
Close. Go further south.
Oh, brother.
Anyone?
Oh!
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a national park. I don't want to sound like an idiot. Never mind.
Well, mouth it to me.
No, because you'll laugh.
Going once, going twice. Sold to myself. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Oh, okay.
That would make sense.
Okay. Who wrote the first draft of the Declaration of
Oh,
Independence?
John Hancock?
Meh.
Oh.
Oh, Alexander Hamilton.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, my turn.
Olivia?
Thomas Jefferson.
Yes.
That's what I was going to
my
say.
God.
That was my follow-up.
Yeah.
My follow-up.
All right. That one. Well,
That was
if y'all,
an easy
y'all
one.
can get this.
How can I forget
How many
that?
justices are on the Supreme Court?
Craig would get all of these. I bet.
Gazillion. Too many.
Oh my God.
14?
Come on.
Is it 14?
Oh, 9.
No.
9.
That's correct.
No.
9. There was a big debate about that little number.
Okay, I'm not gonna make you answer that. Let's see. Oh, this
Many
is
of
very
this-
easy. If you cannot get this,
Many
you
of these were
guys-
not in that questionnaire for the citizenship, by the way.
Well, whatever. Which U.S. state is closest to Cuba?
Florida.
That's
But
right.
I raised my hand.
I lost a point
I was
because
gonna say Florida.
I'm gonna give it
Florida.
to Big Daddy. Sorry.
Florida.
Florida.
What? Oh, y'all could get this. Who was the only U.S. president to serve more than 2 terms?
Oh, I know it.
Oh my God! Really?
Obama. I'm just joking.
No.
Yeah.
Roosevelt.
Which one?
Teddy.
No.
Woodruff.
His last
Oh
name
my
is Roosevelt.
God.
I got the
You
answer.
guys should not be Americans. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
So I got it right.
What did he have? What illness did he have? Can y'all remember that?
Gout.
He was paralyzed. I know that. He was in a wheelchair.
Not all of his life.
Tuberculosis.
Polio. Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know why this is included, but
just thought he was
what is the
eating too
capital of
much.
California? Anyone?
Oh, Sacktown.
Yes, baby. Sacktown.
How do you know that, Matt?
All right,
Yeah,
let's
we
be
were
done.
looked
Where I
into
put my
moving.
Mac down.
All right. Well, you guys all suck.
You know a lot about sack.
You should not be Americans. No, I'm just kidding. But I do have the power to take away everyone's citizenship here.
Yeah, okay. So
I shouldn't have come.
who's the winner?
Alejandro won.
Oh.
I
Good
won.
job.
Well,
Just
We
as I
gave it to
succeeded.
Alejandro.
You win a
You were-
cocktail, which
you-
you're drinking right now.
you were
Enjoy.
too nice. You were too nice.
All right, we'll go back.
But you
to
did got me nervous.
Okay, so let's go back to the interview.
Back in time.
I have a question. So you are dating our best friend Amy. How did you guys meet?
Well, we met on an airplane. I
Thanks to me.
And where were you guys going? Where were you coming from?
She was, I'm going to say it.
Sorry,
She was
sorry.
coming back from Costa Rica from celebrating, I think, Liz's birthday.
Correct.
So we're glad she's alive. And,
Thank God.
and I was coming back from Cuba. I was visiting my family, and it was vacations from hell because I was just sick all the time there. But it was worth it. I even changed my flight last minute. Like, it was a big sum of a lot of different serendipities, I would say.
Yes.
Like, right before I was boarding, they also changed my seat, and it was like 1 a.m. All the flight was delayed for like several hours already. I just want to go home. I don't care. Change my seat, whatever. And then she sat by my side, and we started talking. We also had a fun lady that she was from Colombia, and that this is part of the story. And Amy started talking to her, and she totally looked like a drug lord lady. I don't know, like she.
Like a mule? Drug mule?
Not
No,
a
like
mule.
higher
She
up.
was like the mom of everybody. Of
She
all
was the
drug
mafia
lords.
She was in
leader.
charge of the mules.
Yeah, with all like big rings and the way she was dressed, and like she had this dignity about her that was
So it was the opposite of Amy in that moment.
a little bit.
you
We
said
were
it.
more in like party mode, I would say.
And you said anything is possible to Larry Terry, and then it like you manifested. I feel like Amy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like very serendipitous.
I don't know. Things happen in my life that way all the time. I do believe that there's always like you don't know where you're gonna be tomorrow. Like things happen like this, and then it's up to you whether you're gonna take the chance or not. But if you do, things can happen to you.
I believe that too.
Because
Sometimes
you
they're
had
good.
been in Richmond at that time. For what?
I had
a
just
year?
bought. Yeah, I had just bought my house, and I hadn't even lived in it yet. Went to Cuba to see my family, and then came back and then met Amy. I didn't even remember my address when she asked me where I was living. I was like, Henrico County.
Somewhere out there. That's
So
funny.
of course, like she always makes fun of me because of that, because I didn't remember where I was.
really-
So I ended up like living very close to where she actually grew up, of like the same street.
It's crazy.
that's another-
That's very romantic.
Yeah,
But let's go back in time, back to the beginning.
beginning.
So tell us, what part of Cuba you grew up in, and these are Americans. Sorry, I love you. I'm one of you, but they don't know that much about Cuba. Only
Yeah.
what they see, like in news flashes or on Facebook.
Yeah, I was born in Havana. That's the capital of Cuba. So that's why when I went to New York, I kind of felt like, oh, this is, there's big differences, but
Kinda similar.
people walk everywhere, and you see people from all kinds of venues, and that I connected very much with that when I was in New York. But Havana it's very hot in Cuba.
How hot?
Or all year long. There's like, it has never snowed there. So it's like a little bit hotter than Florida, let's put it that way. So it's right there with it.
So it's like a tropical-
It's 90 miles only, like south of Florida. So it's very similar to the weather in Miami, you would say. Many interesting things about Cuba. Cuba is a very different place. We have free healthcare, free education, but we also struggle with a lot of things. It's supposed to be a communist country, and there's a very complex relationship with the United States. Many of you probably only know about Cuba that we had a missile crisis, and but there's a lot more than that there. And even when Cuba was trying to get their independence from Spain, there was a war between the U.S. and Spain, and I would say that Cuban history and American history are intertwined in many ways, even Cuba being like a very small country.
Right. Can you give some more specific, like, big differences of how someone growing up in Cuba, their life would look like versus like someone going to, high school now or whatever?
Yeah.
Like,
so in Cuba, when I was growing up, okay, granted, there was no internet. I was born in 1984. So growing up, it's a very poor country. Also, the USSR fell. So there was when the communist, what they call the communist field failed, there was nothing in Cuba. We lost all our exporting market and everything. And at some point,
this is like when
it's 1999,
like when Germany, like when the Berlin Wall fell.
Oh, it's a little bit later than that.
Okay.
It's 1991.
Okay. I guess that was 1989 when the Berlin Wall fell.
So, but then that caused like a huge depression in Cuba, and it was a really rough time. I was only a kid, but I remember we had like continuous blackouts, like no power. Most kids, we had one tennis ball. I always like to remember my American friends. I always try to like, so you understand how it was. Like we were happy. We were kids. We were only playing the streets and playing soccer with a punched ball, but one kid in the block had one tennis ball, and that's the ball. Like
everyone had to play it.
Yeah, we played with it. I had the basketball years later, and then they would come, Alejandro, can we have the basketball while you do your homework? Sure.
Wow.
So,
but you better give it back to me.
It was like that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah, you got all those like things, like free education and free healthcare, but then there's a price for that, and also like salaries were very low, so your freedoms are also very limited. The government owns everything, like every like communication, like all TV channels or radio stations are owned by the government. All main companies. You can only own one house in Cuba. You can only own one house in the city and one house at the beach. That's it. So even if you have a lot of money, which most people don't, then you are also limited in how much you can grow. So there's a whole different universe there. There's no stock market. There's no loans.
Wow.
If you buy everything you buy anything with cash, like a car, a house. And at the time, you couldn't even buy a house when I was growing up. Then they flexibilized some of the regulations, and then you could buy a house. But yeah, things like that you cannot even think that are possible. Like how does that country function? And then you move here. When I moved here, I was like, I have a lot to learn, because I moved there in my 30s, and it's not the same than moving when you're way younger. And immediately I was like, okay, this is a new world, and I didn't even know how to drive, because I had never had a car. In Cuba, owning a car is like a huge privilege. Not like everybody can have a car.
What kind of people own vehicles in Cuba? What kind of jobs do they have?
Yeah, so mostly you have the people, that's why we have so many old cars. You have the people that inherited these cars from their grandparents and everything. They fixed it and continue
like
to fix
the 1950s classic.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
And we still drive around those every day. Like that's the regular car we use in Cuba. But then, of course, those cars are dying too. It's very hard to,
get the parts for them.
Everything. People just make their own parts. They got to get very creative. But if you have a job for the government, then sometimes they give you a modern car and pay for some of your gas. It's a very interesting society.
Do people ever get envious of the people who have vehicles? Is there like crime or any envy or?
There's some crime in Cuba. I would say like Cuba is a very safe country in comparison to with most countries. We don't have guns also, which is good and bad, I would say, because when there's a lot of, there's no gun crime, right? But there's a lot of other types of crime.
Like stealing.
There's, or like stabbing, like
Assaults,
assaults, whatever. If you're the weaker person and 2-3 guys come, like doesn't matter. You're going to give them whatever you have, right? And it in general, that doesn't really happen, used to happen very often in Cuba. Now I would say that it has increased because of the way more challenging financial and economical conditions that they have right now, which is very sad. Like every year, I feel like it doesn't get better. On the contrary, it gets worse. And a lot of people actually depend on their family that live in the U.S. to send them some money, which is not. It doesn't go hand on hand with how Cubans are in their spirit, like of dignity. So I don't know. I feel like it is a subject for a long conversation.
I know.
But
we're only going to have the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah.
Fascinating in all ways.
We should plan. I'm going to plan a trip to Cuba, probably not far from now.
Yes.
And we should all go and at least spend like a long weekend.
Yes, for sure. There we go.
So I have so many questions just because I'm like absolutely curious. But what is getting food like there? Because I have no idea what it's like there.
Oh yeah. I mean, those are legit questions. I just forget because it's for me it's like, oh yeah, that's the way it is, and I already know. But so for the longest time we had like this little notebook, and we called it the notebook.
The notebook.
So in that little notebook, it's like a little book actually, and booklet, and then in there you would have like a list of different products, like basic products that the government would subsidize, right? And then with your salary, which is also like insanely low. For example, like an engineer would make $30 a month. Crazy. A doctor would make like $50 a month.
And those are great jobs.
And those are the good
Are
jobs.
they great jobs there though, or is it more like government jobs are the best jobs to get?
They used to be good, I would say, in the 80s, but when we have the USSR still. But after that happened, and then the dollar was needed to have like international trade and all that, then it all turned into like a lot of absurd, because it's an absurd situation. So you have to take new absurd measures to ensure that things keep working. And then it's the absurd on top of the absurd. And all of a sudden you don't know what's going on anymore. So we had this little booklet where there's a list of the products you get. And for example, you get like, 10 pounds of rice and 5 pounds of
beans.
3 pounds of beans, whatever. So that's for the entire month.
So you have to like ration it.
It's like a ration. It's all rationed. And then what happened is like continuously people were receiving less and less. So every year they would take, instead of 10 pounds, now we need to give 8 because the economy, whatever. So every year they would take something from you. It just get worse and worse for people.
Do people like grow their own food? Try to?
Only if you can. Actually there was a phenomenon during the 90s where people they was just raising pigs in their bathtubs because they had to, so they could eat some meat on December 31st, which is like our biggest, party for the new year. And so people were doing that. I remember my grandpa rented like a little piece of a garage where he had this pig there, and he would, let's go feed the pig. And it was just crazy.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And my dad was an engineer. My mom was an engineer. So it was like, first generation engineers. My grandparents weren't, but you would think that they would be doing well for themselves. And you're like, no, you've got to get really creative there. You would see a surgeon riding his bicycle to the hospital to
he's like, I gotta get there.
My bike. Wow. And then that guy's going to be doing some surgeries. And so it's an absurd state of things that is very difficult to grasp, I would say.
Is it even worse if you're like a woman or a child? like the discrepancies?
I would say that
Or is it more even?
it is very even. Like the way I was raised, and I'm not going to say that that's all Cuba, because there's, different
Sure.
families. There's even like internal cultures in between families and everything.
Right.
But as a general policy and what's, official, and also how I lived, women and men have the same rights for the longest time. Like, and salaries are the same for both. Like, there's no difference in that. That very low salary that you get is the same for both. So,
Hooray!
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so how did you move up? I mean, I know that it helped that you had the Airbnbs, but like you were saying, you could only own property in 2 places. So were you renting some of the Airbnbs? And then how did that help you get a visa? If you could tell that story.
That is a good question, actually. So what happened was that I was an engineer, and all of a sudden I was managing these national programs and designing the first TV, for the digital TV transition to
Right.
Cuba and everything.
I didn't know any of this. This is awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some news there, with me with the little TV that the first digital TV for Cuba and
That's
all
cool.
that. Yeah. So
We should try to find that.
I'm a pioneer. So
For real, though.
yeah. Well, and then they were sending me to China, and I was working with these super big companies and managing teams of engineers, and then at the same time you're making $30 a month. You're like, this doesn't make any sense. And I had my daughter, and what happened was that I decided that I needed to do something different. At work, there's also many politics involved, and I was never very fond of how things were working in Cuba in terms of politics. So I was, in a way, I was a rebel, and people knew it because I was not hiding it. So my boss even be like, Alejandro, you need to be smarter about this. I'm like, it's not about being smarter. Like, I have my values, and I'm not gonna compromise. That's it. And then because of that, I knew that I was not gonna go far there. And also I was not making that much money. So I decided at some point, I saved all the money that they gave me, or as much as I could, they gave me to go to China and all those places. And then I just decided to quit when I was on my 30th birthday.
Wow.
I went to my boss and said, this is my resignation letter. There you go. And Alejandro, what are you going to do? I don't know, but it's going to be better than this. So I didn't really have a full plan of what I was going to do. I was thinking
I support it.
I'm getting a little emotional.
Yeah, it was a tough decision, but I had a daughter and I had to make things happen, and I knew that anything I do was going to be better. I had that confidence. And also I had a project with some friends. We were doing 3D animations, and we were like, okay, maybe we can make this happen, and do some commercials for other companies that are not just the Cuban government, because there's some foreign companies in Cuba. So that was one plan, but that was not really, making as much as I thought it was going to make. And at some point then I got divorced. So I had more time on my hands now, because I didn't have the chance to spend as much time with my daughter. And I said, okay, what can I do to change my reality? And so I didn't know that Airbnb existed at all. We didn't have internet. Was
You
not
can't
a
go on the
thing.
internet, yeah.
Yeah, internet was so expensive. It was $2 an hour for a very slow internet. And
God, how does anyone do that? No one can.
yeah, well, if you're making,
We would go crazy.
Yeah, the wealthy can.
if you're making $30 an hour a month, then you cannot pay $2 an hour for sure.
Oh my God.
If you work for the government, some people in the government had access to that, but most people didn't. So I didn't even know that Airbnb existed. And I was like, okay, I was there. I think I was painting a fence at my mom's house, and I was so bored, and it was so hot. And I was just thinking while I was painting, I need to do something, and it's got to be in the tourism area.
Yeah.
And I was I just came up with the idea of Airbnb, right? Without knowing that Airbnb was already a thing.
Wow.
And of course I was very my wings totally, fell next day when my friends told me, Alejandro, have you heard
That's
of it?
already
I'm
an
well, okay, I'm going to do it anyways. So I decided to do that, but there was this challenge of no internet. So how do you build an Airbnb, a website and everything, when there's no internet? And the internet we had was very expensive, and you could only access it in hot spots in public parks. So it's also a safety concerned that you're there.
You're like, I'm standing in this park.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I can only do this at like midnight because no one's in this park.
It was really, it's like one of those, it's such a bizarre situation. It's like really, it's strange, really strange. But I didn't give up, and I spent a lot of time studying like how to like start a company abroad, because there's no companies in Cuba that you can do this there. And at some point I just decided, you know what, it's taking a long time for me to build this website, and some friends didn't follow through, which was very sad for me. And there I was then again by myself. And I was like, I'm just going to put my house, like whatever people on Airbnb, and try and see that what happens with that. And I just went to different houses that friends recommended. It was just like word of mouth, and, you know, just with like close friends. Hey, are you renting? Are you interested in this? And because I could speak some English, then I thought, you know, if I fix this problem, I'm going to bring some clients to you. And that's how I started, because you cannot own the house. I owned 0 houses in Cuba.
Ah, okay.
I didn't own, to your question, right? That how many did you buy or rented?
Yeah.
None, 0. I
Wow.
started that with just talking to people and promising that I was going to provide an amazing service, and I'm going to bring you clients, and you just give me a percentage of that. And a year later, I had houses in half of the country, and I was managing then also transportation, and like had employees, and was able to rent an office space. Like it was really an apartment.
Wow.
It was really an apartment. I had people there that came every day to work from there, and I managed to bring the internet from there to there.
That's crazy.
You really, it's just neat that how creative your mind like got.
You have to. You know, everybody was really, honestly, one of the biggest hurdles that I faced was nobody believed I could do it. Like my mom, nobody, like none of my friends, they were like, Alejandro, that's impossible. You cannot do this. There's no way. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do everything I can. If I can't, well, that's that. So I did try, and I made it happen with a lot of help with friends, you know, support from people that did believe in, and I was like, hey, and I offered them, hey, you want to get a, you know,
get a cut.
You're going to get a cut. What are you going to do? Let's do this. And we made it happen. And yeah, at some point, you know, transportation, go back and forth, because also in Cuba, you cannot rent a car easily. Credit cards, American credit cards don't work in Cuba. So you go there,
You got to be careful.
yeah, so you bring your American dollars, and then there's 2 different rates. One, the official, that you're going to lose a lot of money if you do it. So you really need to have a connection there. So, and my job was essentially to, you know, make my clients happy. And that's how I met my friends that invited me to the U.S. And I got really lucky, I guess.
Well, tell us a little bit about what happened when you went to get your visa initially, because knowing English, from what you've told me, really
it did help a lot. It was a surreal experience, because you go there, there's so many security checks. I don't know, it's like you feel like you're entering like a stronghold, like a military facility. There's all these people with big guns and everything. And you apply for a visa, but the thing is, I cannot even apply for an American visa because you don't have a credit card, and for applying you need to pay with a credit card. So
It's like impossible.
There's a lot of hurdles. So when my friends that were inviting me said, Alejandro, you should come. And I was like, yeah. But at some point I told them, okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not applying because I cannot pay for it, because you need a credit card to pay for it. Yeah. And he's like, oh, there's no problem. I'm going to pay for it. And if you make it, then you pay me back. And if you don't, well, that's that. So I was like, oh, these people are awesome, because applying for a visa is $160. Or it was that
That's
amount.
like over a year's money.
I'm like having a little bit of a panic attack for the Cubans. Oh my gosh.
So, and then chances are you're going to get denied. 90% of people get denied. So you're investing that amount of money, which is a lot of money for a person there. And for me, it was attainable because now I had my business, but most people can't. And most people didn't. Their family members, like in the U.S., pay for it and everything.
Literally bust your ass. Like
It's hard. But then essentially, to your question, Liz, like, so I did study what is. I went to YouTube and said, okay, what would be a successful strategy to have my interview? And essentially, they said you have to just prove to them that you're going to come back, that you have interest in coming back. So I went there with all my transactions that for the most part for my business, and I only got a cut from that, but in the papers, it seemed like I was making millions. Like, oh, this guy is
You're like,
rich.
I'm a multi-millionaire. It's fine.
No big deal.
This guy doesn't want to come to the U.S. to start from scratch, right? So I, was there and I introduced myself in English and I said, good morning. That was the first thing I said to this officer, and he immediately smiled because he was going to conduct the interview in Spanish. And he was, oh, do you want to do it in English? Yeah, you want to do it in English? And like, I can try. My English was not as good. I wasn't as fluent. And I, it's a situation where you can get nervous. But I felt like I already had the no because I didn't have anything to lose essentially. So I don't really get nervous in those situations. And I guess he felt it. And like 15 minutes later, he was like, hey, you're good. You got a visa. But I didn't know at the moment, you don't know how long is your visa. They make you come back like a week later and then you get your passport and then that's when you know. And it was a 5-year visa.
Crazy.
And it was shocking because I don't think most people get it. And I was like, wow, this is really awesome. I felt like
you won the lottery.
I have 5 years of freedom right now.
Yeah.
Because with this visa, I can, having it, you can also go other places because you have an American visa. So
I have a question. When you got to the U.S., when your first time, were you like completely mind blown? Like, what was that like?
I mean, the U.S. is amazing, but I had been in China and they have
I forgot.
big buildings there
Yeah.
too, and it's really impressive there. Also, I would say that I don't get easily impressed with things. Like I'm like, oh, this is awesome, but okay, cool.
What's the catch? After living there, I'd be like, what the?
I would,
A little bit like that.
How are they going to screw me if I try to go see this?
What you described, like having to ration food and then like going to the United States and like you can eat whatever you want. Like that would be mind blowing.
The level of abundance.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We have here is mind blowing, and we don't know it because we're used to it. Like people that were born here. But I remember the first time I went to Costco with my friend, and
Oh gosh.
Larry took me to Costco, and I was there, and I was like, okay, there's more stuff in this store than
all of the
stores combined in my country.
That's what I meant when I meant mind blown. That kind of stuff.
100%. I didn't know like where to like what am I supposed to do here?
Or like the size of people's homes and
or the size of people.
Or like, I was going to say food waste, even like so much food waste.
There's a lot of waste here, and I'm very conscious about it. Like I'm always at home, like trying to recycle this.
I'm the same way.
Don't throw away this food because, like, that education of my mom's like, you need to eat all of it, and I
You gotta be grateful. That's what I value gratitude for your things, not take them for granted.
Not throw away any food. You don't throw away food.
You don't know how bad it can get people in this country.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned your mom. So how much of your family is still in Cuba, and how often do you go back, and what do you take?
So I take everything I can.
Yeah.
Everything, like even like recycled clothes from, Amy's daughters, like friends, like old phones that they don't need anymore, or like so old, and I bring them to Cuba, and they.
Ooh, I have a phone.
Everybody
actually.
Too. I have a bunch.
Yeah, old computers, like all of that. I just bring it there, and they're super happy to have it because otherwise they couldn't have the resource. They wouldn't have the resource to buy those things. And so I check all the bags that I can, and put everything I can in them. Like totally stuff them all the way up to the weight limit. And last time, Amy also visited Cuba with her daughters, with Kate and Lauren, and I checked bags for all of them. It was all clothes and stuff for people in Cuba. So yeah, you do that. It is a real thing that people do that.
I have chills. I'm like, this is an insane story. I didn't know all this, Alejandro.
There's a lot more. I'm just trying to keep it short.
Well, what about, so you mentioned that you're divorced and your daughter, so she's in Colombia. Is it similar when you visit her there, or because they're not communists, it's not like as crazy, but there's still like a difference? And how often do you get to see her?
I go to see my daughter every year. I save most of my vacations to go see her.
We forced him to go to Italy with us this year.
Yeah, I also need to have some adult fun, but that's true. Like, yeah, I go every year to see her. I also I have to go to Cuba at least every other year, because otherwise I lose my residency there.
Right.
And I do want to keep it, because that gives me like ability to do things there for my family. So essentially my family is in Cuba, my mom and brother, and my dad does live in the Dominican Republic. So the history of people in Cuba, like, is a story of, immigration. Like, we're scattered, and that is something you feel through while you're growing up. Like, your friends start leaving the country whenever they can. So all through like elementary, secondary school, like you see friends leaving, and
you're like, where did Jose go or whatever? Like, he's not here.
Yeah, and now there's internet, and now there's WhatsApp and all that, but at the time you didn't have any of that, so you essentially lost friends along the way, right? And then you do it too, and then my daughter in Colombia, so I have to go there, and yeah, Colombia is not like Cuba at all. Like, it's just capitalist country with everything. Like, actually, it's very easy to be there because it is less expensive than the US. So you feel like you can Uber anywhere, and it's still like cheaper probably than renting a car. I rented a car in Colombia, and that was a mistake.
I have 2 questions. One short, a yes or no. So there's internet now for all Cubans?
Yes and no.
Does it cost money still?
So yeah, it costs money. Like,
obviously
people can sort of afford it now, like the data on their phones, but it's limited too. So a lot of people rely on their family abroad to send them money to do it. And then Wi-Fi at home, only a handful of people have it. Then
second question is, your family in Cuba, did they have any interest in moving to the United States?
100%. Like, my brother, we started the parole program that now is being stopped. He never, got approved or anything. It got stopped before he got the approval. But he's interested in coming here. That's like a lot of Cuban people. My brother does very well for himself. We have a pizza place that my father started more than 20 years ago. I think it's probably one of the oldest in town.
What's it called?
Tony's.
Hola, Tony, if you're listening. No.
So yes, and I started the process for my mom to come. There's a legal process, so your family members can come, but it takes a long time, and of course, like, money to do
way
it.
Longer than a lot of countries, right?
It's pretty long. It's pretty long, I would say.
Because there was a fast track for Cubans, and now it's stopped.
So the fast track was like more like a policy. It was very complex too, that Obama ended. Thank you, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
I liked him so far till he did that in his last couple days in office. Yeah. I don't know why was that. But essentially, there's like the dry feet, cold feet policy, where if a Cuban cross, because it's so difficult. Cuba is like a prison island. Like, you go out of the country. Once you go, it's very hard to leave, right? So once you do it, like, there was an incentive that if you would cross an American border, you would be accepted and, given
asylum.
Make asylum essentially, and would make it easy for you to get a job and everything like that. So it would be like sort of legal if you would cross a border through land, but not through the ocean, because the ocean's dangerous. So there's like a lot of different complex politics involved.
Is there anything that you would change looking back now, like from moving from there to here?
I don't know, because that's whatever
to be determined.
I did. Yeah, whatever well, maybe do it earlier. I don't know. You never know. I don't want to. I think it would be ungrateful to. I'm very grateful for what I have right now. So I don't know what would have happened if I would have changed anything. Right. So I think. So far, so good. I think I wouldn't change it. Like, I could have made better decisions. Yeah, I would have probably invested more in Bitcoin earlier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's everyone.
Right.
Exactly. Whether you're a Cuban, American, anything.
So, yeah, but no, I think I just, made my decisions based on what I knew, and that's it. And I'm happy with what I have right now.
I love it. I feel like this could be a movie.
Same.
And I think you and I could read it and produce it.
Can I be in it?
Right.
I want to work at Tony's.
All right.
This has been insane. I didn't know any of, most of this I didn't know. It makes me really appreciate you. Like,
You need to ask more questions.
I want to give you a hug so bad. Okay, anyway.
Well, thank you for being here, but continue to interact with us. We'll be moving on. You can comment on what Big Daddy is dying to drop on us.
What do you got for us?
I want to hear it.
All right, so this is the Beachbody series.
Beachbody.
Installment 1, because we're all trying to get our beach. All right, and so I'm going to start this off with the exercise equipment origins. And so we're going to first talk about the treadmill, which has a very dark...
It's my least favorite piece of equipment.
I don't even like the name.
The treadmill was originally invented as a torture device. And
I knew it.
That's why I hate it.
Knew it.
in the 1800s by a civil engineer, William Cubitt. So I'm a civil engineer. You know, I have a connection to that, but we don't
Shame.
we don't think of torture devices all day in our cubes.
Except for Matt.
And so William Cubitt observed idle prisoners, and he was like, what can I do with these idle prisoners? And so he had the idea that they could be put to work. And so the treadmill is a combination of words where tread means to walk.
To walk?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And mill means to grind, as in grain. So,
as in put your feet to the fire.
And so the original contraption, it was a 20-foot long paddle wheel where prisoners would stand side by side on the outside of the wheel, stepping on it for 6 or more hours a day.
I feel like this is apropos coming after you're talking about Cuba. Like, seriously. Like,
Yeah, they may have had treadmills.
Yep.
They made Alejandro walk on one.
I didn't see them, but you never know.
What were they used for? And so they would be used to literally grind grain, pump water, or power ventilators in mines.
Oh my God.
In many prisons, it was a form of hard labor designed to instill discipline. The wheel functioned more like an early Stairmaster since it wasn't flat like today's treadmill. So it was even harder
Worse?
back then. Yeah.
God.
And so moving forward, the first modern treadmill was invented in 1952 that was used to diagnose heart and lung conditions. So, yeah, it became more of like a medical contraption. Yeah,
benefit
device.
Exactly. And so moving on next, what do we have? The kettlebell.
Ooh.
And so the kettlebell originated in Russia, Mother Russia.
All these ties to
Ostrovia.
communism.
And so it was originally used as counterweights to measure goods in local markets or farming villages. Farm workers discovered that they could be used to demonstrate strength. And so there were contests that were held as a pastime in villages and
They
towns.
were bored out on a farm.
During festivals, fairs, and circuses. Kettlebell lifting became the national sport of the Soviet Union.
Oh, wow.
Really? Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. And so moving on to the medicine ball. So why?
It's practically the same thing. Right?
No. So it has a completely different origin. It originated in ancient Greece. Hippocrates introduced the first version, which was an animal skin stuffed with sand and was used for lifting, carrying, and throwing. And historically, medicine was referred to anything that promoted health and well-being. And so the weighted ball was seen as a way to invigorate the body, promote strength, improve digestion, and restore and preserve one's health. So it's like you're giving your dose of medicine in the gym, I guess.
Cool.
This is interesting.
So dumbbells,
Healthy body.
where did that come from? So the earliest form of the dumbbell dates back to ancient Greece, which were called halters. And they were stones or metal weights.
Hooters?
No, halters.
Different dumbbell.
Anyway, it's funny you mentioned that. Hooters is going out of business, which is a sad thing.
Oh, R.I.P.
That is kind of sad.
And so, anyway, they were stone or metal weights with holes or handles for gripping. The term dumbbell originated in 17th century England. And it refers to an apparatus similar to those used for ringing church bells. And so it literally meant a silent bell because people would go through the motions of ringing the bell without the noise, and they did that for exercise.
Like a shake weight.
Like Quasimodo.
Yeah, like Quasimodo, but without the sound. And so maybe he was just getting jacked up in his bell tower. Yeah.
Getting his hump jacked.
I mean, they were kind of offensive. The way I see it, they could have named it, I don't know, mute bells?
Mute bells.
Mute bells?
Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb. No, you're dumb. You're dumb.
So, yeah, I guess
Dumb,
But
deaf,
there's
and
a
blind.
silent letter in there.
when you call someone dumb, are you just calling them silent? Or
Well, doesn't dumb mean deaf?
Sometimes that can mean
Yeah.
that was another term for like mute.
yeah,
Oh, really?
you dummy. Anyway, that concludes dropping on us Big Daddy, and look forward to the next installment.
I can't wait.
Thanks,
We can't
Daddy.
That was awesome.
Olivia, we have some upcoming events.
We do. Let me find mine.
Shall I start?
I shall start.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Damn.
Sorry. On Saturday, June 14th and Saturday, June 21st, the week after the 14th, Carytown is having their annual sidewalk sale. Shop local with your favorite small businesses on Cary Street, find amazing deals, and enjoy a great day out and about in Carytown. And then number
How
two.
whimsical.
Number two, Pride Night at the Diamond, Friday, June 13th. The first 1,000 fans get a commemorative Pride fan.
Ooh.
Which is kinda cool.
We should go.
That'll be a fun one.
If you say that in Cuba, people would kill each other to be in the first 1,000.
A fan.
Panel.
Yeah.
And then number three, God, I was going to ask about
It's
that
hot
too.
there.
I was
It's
going to
just
ask about that. Anyway, drag brunch at the Foundation on June 15th. It's going to be hosted by Melanin Monroe, Jasmine.
Melanin.
Yes.
Okay.
That's an interesting name.
Jasmine Cleopatra, Lavender Menace, and Jason Love. You must be 18 plus. Doors at 11. Show at noon.
Fun. Okay. We also have June 13th at the Ember Music Hall. Nappy Roots will be there. Tickets range from $30.70, very precise,
That
to
is very precise.
$271.
Oh my God!
Nappy Roots, if you guys don't know, they've released 7 studio albums. They have 14 mixtapes. They've done that all since their debut in 1998. So then on June 14th, Pride on Forest Hill. There'll be multiple events throughout the day at Forest Hill Park from 11 to 8 p.m., including a Pride market, a picnic, a Pride happy hour at Thirsty's, and after party. As well, if you want to learn more, check out their Facebook page. Just type in Pride on Forest Hill.
We should go to that.
okay.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun. And then Father's Day, if you haven't had enough fun and frivolity. June 15th, Ribs and Reds at Ashton Creek Vineyards, 14501 Route 1, Chester, Virginia. It's a free event. They are doing that from 12 to 6. There'll be live music on the patio, delicious ribs on special to pair with wine. I would pick red, but you could get some white with
the
that.
natural choice.
As well. Or they also have ice cold beer.
Oh, beer and
Yes.
smoked
That's
meats.
what I'm
Yes.
talking
Oh,
about.
wow.
What could be better?
Yeah,
Daddy.
That's what I'm
That
talking about.
concludes
Daddy.
concludes our events.
And I have a band of the week.
Yes.
So since none of you can see us, we are rocking. Well, I am at least. I'm rocking Radar Theory. They sent us some merch, and they are super nice people. So let me tell you about them.
Yes.
Radar Theory is a raw, no frills rock and roll band with heart, grit, and a story worth telling. Formed in 2021 when guitarist Johnny Booth connected with drummer Danny Heflin through a Facebook post, the band came together with bassist Mike Green and powerhouse vocalist Eric Becker. They quickly gained traction with high energy shows and sound that refuses to be boxed into one genre. what they call the radar treatment. In 2022, the band faced a heartbreaking setback when their vocalist, Eric Becker, was diagnosed with a rare cancer.
Damn.
Though he stepped away from the band, he gave his blessing for them to continue and even helped choose his replacement, another Eric Torres. Sadly, Becker passed away in December 2023, and now every performance is a tribute to his memory. In February 2025, which was this year, Radar Theory hosted the Eric Becker Memorial Concert, a powerful night that brought together bands, fans, and friends to honor Eric and raise money for the SPCA, one of his favorite causes. So you can catch them live. They are playing June 14th at Mainline Brewery at 7 p.m. and on June 28th at Strange Ways in Fredericksburg at 7 p.m. And you can show them some love on Instagram at Radar Theory, Facebook, Radar Theory Band, TikTok, Radar_Theory, and YouTube, Radar Theory Band. And they're really cool, like I said. So
We'll be at the show on the 14th.
Yep.
We
Don't
might
stalk us.
We get pulled up on stage, maybe.
Perhaps. Perhaps not.
Do they really want us on stage?
They said they're going to. Catch us on stage.
I think I'm going to have to go there.
Because anything could happen. You know,
Anything
it could
could
get crazy.
We're going to dance and sing.
Wild, yeah. And then our business of the week, shouting out Still Life Studio RVA at 1600 Altamont Avenue. They are a new pottery place that is going to have classes, and they'll have artist workshops in Scott's Edition. They have tons of membership options if you want to become a member, or you can just pay for a class at a time. I think it sounds really cool. You can look at their website for pricing. It's still-life-studio.com.
Cool.
Also, through the end of June, you can get 50% off of your first bowl-in-one instead of hole-in-one.
Oh, that's so clever.
So check out their website. I really want to try to do a pottery class.
I did one. I was not
Really?
good at it.
I'm sure I'll be horrible, but I have a feeling Matt would be good at it. So I'm like, let's go, and
Yeah,
I'll get
you
angry
would.
at
I
you.
think it takes a lot of dexterity,
It takes a lot of patience.
patience.
Which we have none of.
I don't have any
Yeah.
patience.
I have pretty good patience.
I know.
I don't.
Alejandro, you'd probably be
Patience
bad at
is
it.
one of
virtues you
my
didn't get.
It's a virtue.
recent acquisitions.
Acquisition.
Okay.
Chapter 2 in Alejandro's life.
Never been really too patient in my life. It's good and bad.
Anyway, you guys, please follow us on olala_RVA
Yes.
and on Facebook, olala.
Tell your friends about us.
In RVA. You can find us. Just type in olala
Follow
RVA.
them. They're awesome. And it's been really amazing being here.
Well, we
Thank
got
you,
some
Jack.
shout outs.
Shout outs.
Yes,
First of
some
all,
shout-outs.
I'm shouting out Alejandro. Seriously, this conversation was like mind blowing for me. I did not know a lot of this stuff. And wow. I really
Ask me
respect
more.
you.
There's a lot more where from.
I know. We'll have to have a part two.
You like
gosh.
I respect the shit out of you.
Oh, thank you. It's been quite a
I
journey.
love you.
It's been quite a journey.
And I
like,
love you too.
Culturally and everything, it's been. I didn't even know what to order at McDonald's the first time I went there, and like probably even now.
Fish fillet?
Just give me number one because I don't even know
The
what we're talking
McRib.
about.
What's
the
the order?
McRib. Get the McRib.
Fish fillet.
Any other shout outs?
Yeah, I've got a couple here. They're brewery related.
Oh, if
yes.
you're going to steal one of mine, I think.
I don't possibly, but
I know you love your beer, Matt.
Craft beer.
so anyway, a Licking Hole Creek Brewery. You know, we all
That's the one you like the most.
He likes to lick his hole.
Or anyone's.
let's all get it out.
Anyone, you say?
So they're referring to the creek next to the brewery, not the act of anything.
Darn.
So anyway, the owner went on a health hiatus, and so but she's back, and they should be open now. They claim to be opening on May 15th, but you know how that is. And so they are located in Goochland County, and they brewery number 2 is Hardywood. And so they are going to be opening up a restaurant / tasting room in the airport.
Oh yeah,
wow.
No way.
Yeah,
That's good.
So yeah, and also there's going to be I think it's Wolfgang Puck that's going into the airport as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go. Can we just go to the airport to eat?
No, you can't.
you have to have
No.
a ticket to get through.
So anyway, any other shout outs?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Oh, well, I'm going to probably preemptively shout out RVA Kicks Club, MJ.
My trainer?
Yes, your Olivia's trainer. We're going and we're trying a free class for MJ's year anniversary there as a trainer on Saturday.
So that will be at Self-Made Training Facility. It's this amazing conglomerate of small fitness businesses, fitness-related businesses. So they have like a bunch of different trainers like MJ. So his is called RVA Kicks Club. And they also have like an IV drip place where you can recover from your hard workouts
I would like to try that.
or a bad hangover. People do come
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who goes for the exercise recovery? It's for the hangover.
They also have, I believe her name is Makisa. She's really nice. I'm probably saying her name wrong, but she does like ice baths and saunas, and she has like a whole place in there. It's a really cool place, cool community. And if you're interested in stepping up your fitness game like me, I've been in there since March. RVA Kicks Club is amazing. It really gets you
We're
in shape.
excited.
Fight shape, or he calls you fit for
fighter?
fighting
I'm going to learn how to run better.
Okay, yeah.
That way I don't have to fight.
that's
on
a
the
good
treadmill.
Fitness goal.
On the treadmill.
Yeah.
I'm going to shout out all the daddies out there. Be you a mama daddy? Like, I mean, if you're a woman and yet you're also a daddy, I like it. I support it.
Yeah, mama daddy.
I also support...
100%.
Sorry, I always got to throw the women in somehow.
Hey, my
I
mom,
love Mama Daddy.
That was my mom. She raised
That's right.
me and my brother.
But if you're just a daddy, we love you too. Daddy. Daddy.
My daddy's called
Pet
Little
daddies.
Daddy.
Pet daddies, big daddies,
Big
little
daddies,
daddies,
yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
All the daddies. Zaddies.
What about the puppies?
Happy.
Papi daddies. Yes,
Shout
all
out
the daddies.
to all the wieners at Licking Hole Creek.
And I was gonna say, for my brewery, I was gonna say shout out to Garden Grove. After 10 years, they will be shutting down in June.
Oh,
Loved you
what?
guys.
No way.
R.I.P. Anything else, y'all?
That's it. Just remember to follow us, you guys.
Yes, and we'll be coming out with another episode in a couple weeks. We will be having Alan with the Ham Biscuits, founding member, I believe.
Yeah,
An author, too.
They're a really
sounds
cool
fun.
band. They play like a mix of jazz with, like New Orleans style, I
Yeah.
believe.
And fun fact, he is the daddy of Tim
Yes.
that we had on, the snake guy.
Yes, yes.
That sounds fun, guys.
And he's also friends with Kat, Amy's sister.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
this is all
It's a small
connected.
world.
6 degrees of separation. All right, well, thank you, Alejandro. Do you have anything to shout out? Anyone?
Thank you, guys. I would shout out you. You guys are amazing.
Oh,
And
oh, you shouldn't.
this is
Take it back.
I'll take it back. It's been a blast, really fun, and also getting to know you personally and traveling with you has been an amazing experience. And let's go for more.
Let's
Hopefully
fly the
I'll be
friendly
there.
skies.
All right. We love you,
All right.
Alejandro. Thank you so
Love you,
much.
Love you.
All right,
Yeah,
until
Ciao.
next time.
Ciao, Bella.
Hasta la vista.